Welcome, welcome everyone to the Modern Streamers League. We are half done so far with this tournament, and I couldn't be happier. Some of us, like Kevin, could be a little bit happier because, they haven't won too many games. But Gabriel and I are representing the winner's bracket. We're both doing very well so far and are happy to be here. How are you today, Gabriel?
I'm doing great. I beat Kevin over here, so couldn't be better.
So Kevin immediately messaged me. He's like, "Oh, you don't have a match tonight, so I don't want to commentate because I can't rip into you." So that's why I opened a little bit, taking a small dig at my buddy KoDiamonds. How are you today, Kevin?
I'm good, man. I met my quota of one match win. So as long as won one, I didn't go 0-3. I met my quota, so I'm pretty good here.
It was against Sodek too, so it's not like you
Mhm.
beat up on a nobody like me. Like you beat a very good player. Granted, you are a
Yeah,
Neo form,
kinda,
so I don't know if that counts.
yeah, it's trying to get back into it. It is what it is.
Yeah,
So
Neoform wins just, I don't know. It's what the deck does, but still doesn't count.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty good show tonight, or very good, I'd like to say. We got KPonce and Francisco leading things off in the elimination bracket. Then we have Fluffy Wolf 2 against Dylan Hand, also in the elimination bracket. So two of those four players I just mentioned will be gone from the tournament after tonight. What do you guys think? Who do you think between KPonce and Francisco? The decks remaining is a Taxes deck against a Renin 6 deck, which seems to be pretty good against Taxes decks. What do you think, Gabriel? You play a lot of Taxes.
I mean, I know who I'm rooting for, but I can tell you, I get my heart goes out to Kevin. I feel like not Kevin Wong or K Ponce. We gotta get
Yeah.
But I don't think the matchup is gonna be very good for him. I think he's gonna struggle. So his one chance is to get underneath Francisco and take it home that way.
I mean, it doesn't seem good against the Ren and 6 deck, but I'm also going to be rooting for Kevin because I don't want Francisco to win. So
Kevin has historically, Kevin weighing here, KoDiamonds, has historically, allied himself with, he's the rival of anyone who's ever played Amulet Titan. So that's kind of the position he's picking up here. So the next
true.
match
Just
we
like
have.
it's anti-Michael and anti-Francisco.
All right.
Not Amulet Titan players. You guys are okay.
All right. So the next one we have Fluffy Wolf against Dylan Hand. That's a red-green monsters, that kind of Ponza-looking shell we've been seeing against a burn deck. And we know what these decks are because these are elimination rounds, so it's the last deck these players have. So that better be the deck they bring. So what about... So Kevin, you've been playing a lot with this red-green monsters deck. How does it fare against burn?
It's kind of play draw dependent. Yeah, 4 Kitchen Finks main generally, and I'm looking at his list now. Fluffy does have 4 Kitchen Finks. So you do have game against it just because you have natural life gain in the main deck. And then hopefully you have enough removal with like Bone Crush Giants and Lightning Bolts to kind of just get there. And I'm looking now, he also has 2 pulses. So I'm kind of rooting for Fluffy on top of him just having the spicy Luca and full combo too. So hopefully we can see that. I'm not sure how good it is against Burn because the matchup might be a little too fast, but hopefully he can pull a combo off.
Well, we saw Dylan Hand win a terrible burn matchup against Dredge last Thursday against Caleb Schur. So burn can still beat pretty much anybody as long as it draws well.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal players. I mean, I know Fluffy Wolf is known for playing Mono Red Prison, but if you've ever checked out his stream and seen him play, any number of ham sandwiches, he does it well.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty real deck, but like KoDiamonds here said, I think it's going to be really pretty close.
Yeah, but I think it depends upon the way I see the matchup playing is if the red green monsters deck stumbles on mana, I think burn just takes it. And they can stumble on mana with like the Arbor Elf if it gets bolted or killed somehow. They can definitely stumble there, and any stumble, burn can kind of run away with it. Mana definitely matters, as we learned last week. So after the elimination rounds, we actually are going to go back to the winners bracket today to close out the night with some undefeated players. We'll have Ghost X Empire against Capolo. And then after that, we'll have Aspiring Spike against Drake Sasser. So four really good players duking it out. Those should be good matches as well. Less on the line for them since all they're going to lose if they lose their match in the winner's bracket is a deck from their 3 deck lists they submitted, as opposed to losing and being eliminated from the entire tournament. That is kind of the way it goes. Everyone submits 3 deck lists. When a deck loses, it's gone. When you lose all 3 decks, like Kevin over there, you are eliminated from the tournament.
You know, I didn't sign up for this.
I'm probably not far behind you. I already lost my Abs and Company deck, so kind of was a spear in my heart.
Lost my namesake deck first. It was like taxes and we're done.
Yep.
So it's just holding on for dear life.
So those are the matchups we have today. The Modern Streamers League is sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and by Card Hoarder. We will going to take a really quick break, which will show you the entire brackets and all the decks that every player has. If you want to see the deck lists themselves, visit modernstreamersleague.com. Go to the deck list tab, the last one, and then you'll see all the deck lists each player has submitted. But in the quick little break we'll have right here, you'll see the name of each deck people have and a big cross out of it if it has been eliminated. So we will see you in just a minute.
All right. Jumping right in here. Looks like we're watching from Francisco's perspective. And let me tell you right off the bat, he has mana dorks, and that's bad for taxes.
Yeah.
You're trying to stop your opponent from developing mana in his hand. Pretty much everything but that Scavenging Ooze is all mana.
I mean, seeing that Ren and 6 in the opener is pretty sweet, especially on the play, because you can get a Ren and 6 down through a Thalia and kind of stop any future Thalias too.
Yeah. I mean, note that K-Ponce is on, he's on Luris taxes, it looks like, with the revealed Luris there. So you can kind of speed things out with that Mox Amber if he's on the list I'm thinking he's on. So that's kind of how he gets under the gate. But with the dork there too, it just makes it so difficult.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at his deck list now. He has like Chalice of the Void, which seems a little slow also on the draw as well.
I don't think this is the Chalice list. It looks like it's the Mox Amber list.
Got it.
As you can see, he's deploying double 1-drops, trying to get some pressure down. Of course, we know Francisco's hand, and you can see him laughing and smiling there because he's just going to slam this Ren and 6 and instantly kill Kythian, which turns off a mana source. It's rough.
But I do love myself some 3-room inspectors. I think that's one of those cards that are just subtly just like right there in power level, just a 1-drop that's a 1/2 out of all things. So it doesn't die to a Ren and just kind of gets value.
Oh, I love that card.
Oh
Oh.
wow. I was not expecting that concession. That wow. And
Yeah.
Francisco's just laughing.
I mean, apparently Kevin knows as much as anyone there. You're just not like starting the game from behind. Essentially, I think maybe there's a chance if he was on the play there, like maybe he can deploy some pressure and try to get that Thalia out so that the Ren and 6 takes a little more investment. But it's just, ooh, that hurt me to watch.
I mean, as a Taxes player, how painful is that to see like Ren and 6? Like Ren and 6 must be like the bane of your existence right
I
now.
mean, like you often sigh if your opponent leads on a mana dork. If your opponent leads on a mana dork and a Ren and 6, apparently you just concede.
Apparently.
I mean, the card is so good. I mean, we even saw legacy players who, for ages, were playing Mom, the 1/1 to give protection. People switched to Giver of Runes rather than Mother of Runes just because it was a 1/2. Like, couldn't protect itself. I mean, you do get a little bit of a benefit protecting from colorless, but there's like, I just can't die to all these kill target X1 things. Cards like Ren and 6, cards like Plague Engineer.
No. I mean, Modern Horizons just boosted up the power level so much with these cards. Just a 2-mana Planeswalker that can just ping 1-drops and Plague Engineer, like you said.
I mean, all 3 of those cards are from the same set. Giver of Runes as well.
Yep.
And that card, I mean, Kevin here or myself, most of the time we're playing that card, we're playing it fairly, but I'm sure Mike can attest later, just going Giver of Runes into Devoted Druid seems pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so it looks like he's trying to figure out how to sideboard here. I haven't really been paying too much attention just because it's a giant pile of value. So I'm pretty sure you could just resubmit the 60 and still be hugely favored.
Pretty much. I mean, I think it's the same game plan.
Oh, there's Ren and 6. I mean, this hand is certainly more awkward.
Yeah.
If we can see like a quick Arbiter or even a Thalia, it'll do things. And here's Giver to start. So Kevin's starting things out the way he needs to.
It's some 1-drop that protects his other threats that doesn't die to Ren and 6 is exactly how he has a shot in this matchup.
And Francisco smartly leading on a fetch, so he doesn't get Leonin Arbitered out of the game. This is a player who's been here before.
Yeah. Another threat that doesn't die to Ren and 6, and another threat that doesn't die to Ren and 6. So this is a good start by the KoDiamonds.
The attack. Love it. Love it. He says, like, you don't have anything. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I actually think this is correct because if Francisco has a removal spell, he wants to use it on the Giver. So Kevin KoDiamonds knows that. It's like, all right, I don't care. I'm just going to get in there for 1.
And his other creatures on the board, I don't think he exactly cares to protect either. Like, if he gets his Isamara Lightning Bolted or a Theremin Spectre Lightning Bolt, he already got the value out of the clue, so...
The biggest thing there is Isamaru getting removed turns off Mox Amber, but because he doesn't have a Mox, I think it just doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so now he's just leaving back Giver, try to protect things. He's probably going to hopefully play some kind of impactful 2-drop.
Did you want to see Francisco main phase out Lightning Helix, or do you think he's priced in on just Helix and the Giver?
No, I think what he's doing is correct and just waiting to see what Kevin deploys. Okay. Yeah, I mean, now he's going to kill the Luris. I think he has to just kill the Luris because Kevin will just redeploy the Giver. And it's really pretty rough when your opponent just like rebuys the Giver with the Luris and then protects the Luris with the Giver. and he also still just gets to be mana efficient, right? Like he has Ren 6. Ren 6 is going up. It's not going to die to what's on board. He gets to path the Luris, and he sets that upkeep stop so he can do it at the right time.
Pathing upkeep so he doesn't get the extra mana.
But also doesn't let his opponent get that value.
So now, even if KoDiamonds tries to attack the Ren down, it doesn't completely take him off the board either.
Yeah, I mean, this is brutal. He really needs... I mean, he needs to be able to remove the Ren right now, and he just can't. He would need like an Anthem effect, which I don't think he's playing any of. Ooh. Wow.
He's just ignoring the Ren now, which kind of makes sense because I mean Francisco is kind of at a precarious low life total, but with the unknown Huntmaster, like I wonder if KoDiamonds knew that Francisco had a Huntmaster, I wonder if he would have decided to go Ren instead, because I think he's on the game plan of trying to end the game sooner rather than later. But
I mean, it's correct to try to end the game as fast as possible. It's interesting. Like he decided that this Arbor is going to make the getting fetches back awkward anyway. So to just try to kill Francisco before, the Astral Drifts get online, the Thrag Tusks come down. Because when you get to that point, it's just game.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, Leonin is kind of effectively, sort of in a way, shuts off the Ren, like you said. So I kind of do like that attack going face because, he knows he just, like, again, now he's just pathing a bird. Now this is kind of a tempo, like, hey, I'm just going to try to kill you now. And this is kind of a 2-turn clock, which is...
I think that was a slight misstep, actually. I think possibly... So either Kevin has... he already has his turn mapped out and he just needs to path now, or I think more likely he possibly just forgot that Francisco had just paid to search and thought that he wouldn't get a land, because I think pathing the bird is right, just so to deny mana development. You can't block and just get on through. But okay.
I mean, he also just needed to get the block out of the way, and now he can actually deal with the Ren.
Yeah, I'm not sure Francisco actually would block there. Do you think he would block with the bird?
I think so, because I mean, it might, because you want to bring back the cycling lands now, because now you can just deploy the Astral Drift. So I think he would have blocked, because I don't think he's shy on mana. I think he just wants the value. Right.
It's just interesting that he changed his mind, right? Like the previous turn, he decided, no, I'm not going to attack your Ren, and then he changed his mind. And I guess it's because of that cycling land.
Yeah.
But it's a tough spot to be in. All right. So we're going to see Astral. Yep. So he doesn't want the Kithian flipping, which makes sense.
Yep.
But this is still a lot of damage.
Well, he can exile 2 attackers, go down to 3, target the Arbiter, and then fetch.
Right.
So that actually doesn't seem like a bad... Like, I think Francisco's very close to stabilizing right now.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin needs more... at least 2 more threats, I guess.
Well, since the Ren is gone, now he can't bring back the cycling land. So essentially, if he's gonna get his 2 creatures back, he just I think you're right. He just needs to find another creature to commit to the board.
He needs to overwhelm the Astral Drift, but this is so nasty because Francisco gets to play out Huntmaster, flicker Huntmaster. So it's gain 2 life, make 2 blockers. One of them will trade, and then he'll make another blocker, gain 2 more life, and just say that first block didn't matter. So I don't know. I guess KoDiamonds needs a path, but he needs to be patient with the path and not. Or actually, I guess here actually makes sense because it comes back at end step, right? So it's just gone for the whole turn.
Yeah.
So it's actually he needs to end the turn this game.
Yeah. I mean, but what is the out now? I don't think he has any creatures with haste. I don't think he has
Well,
any way to
he
deal.
has lethal on board, right? Like
Mm,
the Huntmaster doesn't come back right away.
yeah. So he needs another path then to get rid of the token, and then
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He needs a way to remove the. Oh,
Well, I guess he just the video ended.
I
He
guess
just shipped it there.
I think
Wow.
he didn't realize that it came back right away, like or that it didn't come back right away, right? Because Astral
Yeah.
Drift is beginning of the next end step, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So he actually like his outs are slim, but
Yeah.
they exist.
Yeah, I mean, he has 4 paths. He used one, so he still has 3 left in the deck. So
He
The
interesting.
used
paths definitely
2.
came at strange times in that game, which I mean, that's a weird card, Astral Drift. I'm pretty sure like no one's played against it before, right? Like in a modern league, have not seen it because I haven't played against Francisco running it in a modern league. And the other time was when he pathed when after Francisco had already still had the 2 mana up to pay for the Leonin Arbiter. That just gave Francisco a free land. So
Yeah.
definitely a little bit awkward, I think, in the terms of timing of the paths, but that is not a good matchup for Capon.
Oh no.
I think if they play 100 times, I think the Astral Run deck's going to win like 95 of them.
I don't know. I don't know if it's quite 95, but it's at least 70.
I mean, with Francisco piloting, it's probably closer to 60, but you know.
Oh,
Ooh.
yikes.
So
That's some big talk there.
a big talk from the 1/3 drop guy. Speaking
just
of that,
ignore that at the top of the screen. Just ignore
it
that
should
text
be
right there.
right there, right about now, right above Gabriel's head. Look there, KoDiamonds 1-3. All right, that's all. Move on. Unfortunately, Capons is now eliminated from the tournament with that loss. Francisco still alive with that Astral Ren deck. Gabriel, what do you think of that deck?
I think that deck's really sweet. I love myself a good brew, and that is definitely that. I also love flicker effects. He's doing it all. So like if there's a deck that is not taxes that I had to enjoy, it is that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just value. It's doing cool things with lands, and it's having neat interactive effects, which seems to be the pinnacle of decks that you kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
Neat interactive effects.
Well, yeah, actually, I'll say that. Balia Stompy, I thought, had some neat interactive effects with how you leverage your mana, I guess, the most effective. But Kevin,
Okay.
what do you think about this Francisco deck kind of going on a hot streak right now?
Yeah, I really like the deck because like one of my favorite EDH decks involves cycling with Life in the Loam and not Astral Drift, the Astral Slide.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw Astral Drift see spoiled, I was like, oh, this card is super sweet. So I'm glad Francisco's actually found a shell that can utilize Astral Drift because that kind of effect where you just get so much value. And with Eternal Witness, you can like cycle Eternal Witness, bring back, and you can block for days with it. It's just, especially with Ren and 6, it just seems like a really good combination. So I really like how the deck is built for sure.
Yeah, Ren and 6 seems to be the glue behind a lot of mid-range value decks right now. It's the glue between these Jund decks. There's some Teamer decks. There's some control decks that are running Ren. They're running a green just for Ren and 6, and now we have this value deck as too. That card single-handedly changed what it meant to be mid-range, I think, in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
It did, and then there was Yorion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you could just add like 20 more cards to Francisco's list and make Yuri on your companion.
You honestly could maybe do it. All his things have ETBs.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and he already has 3 walls, Gilded Goose. I mean, you could just add couple Astrolabes in there, and your deck's solid. Just have Yorion in there. I'm going to do that, Francisco. Yeah, that's it. I'm doing that right now, Francisco. I'm going to take your list and adding 20 cards to
it. Before you do that, check out Francisco's YouTube. I believe he actually ran a Yorion list with Astral Ren. I don't think it turned out so good. I don't think it turned out very good at all.
Yeah, but you can draw those Ren and 6s.
Yeah, you need to turn 2 Ren and 6, otherwise that deck's going to kind of fall flat in its face.
Yeah.
So that was the first match of the night. Coming up next, we have Fluffy Wolf 2 against Dylan Hand. So that is the Red Green Monsters, another deck that could use a Renin 6, although he's running Obosh, which Obosh doesn't seem to work well too with that 2. Work out too well with that 2 costing Planeswalker against Dylan Hand on Burn. The deck lists are online, modernstreamersleague.com. Go to the deck list tab. We'll post a link in the chat. We're going to show you the updated brackets. Unfortunately, showing Capons has been eliminated. So we'll be back in just a minute. Gabriel, does that mean you're the last Taxes player?
Maybe. Well, I'm the last player, but the last Taxes deck just got eliminated. So
sad news. Sad news for Taxes players all over the world. We'll see you in just a minute.
all right, we're back in it. My teammate here, Fluffy Wolf, taking it down with his cool background lighting and fancy chair. The beautiful wolf. I mean, it's not like I'm rooting for anyone here.
I mean, I always say are people that defeated me in this tournament because I lost to Fluffy and I lost to you. So I don't like the screen right now. I'm rooting against all you all. So this is a good start by Fluffy. He has turn 1 accelerant that doesn't die to a lightning bolt. So I would actually lead off with a Utopia Sprawl, and that way you can accelerate into to Arbor Elf into Stomp on whatever burn spell or creature that Dylan has.
It's interesting you say that. I actually disagree. And most of the time I would agree with you because most of the time against this deck, they play a 1-drop, you kill it, and then turn 2 is embarrassing because they can't do anything. But here, actually, he has a 2-drop and he doesn't have a 3-drop in his hand. So if he plays turn 1 Arbor Elf and his opponent kills it, then his opponent actually isn't committing to their own plan and playing a threat.
That's fair.
And so this plan, if his opponent does play a threat, he has the most upside. And if he doesn't, then he still has things to do.
That's fair. I could see both arguments aside of it. And definitely, if you lead with the Arbor Elf and it actually lives, then he has access to 4 mana, which the Obosh list doesn't take advantage too much. But that being said, it's still there. Like you can somehow have Stomp, or you can play more. If you draw another 1-mana accelerant, you can play that too.
And of course, he's instantly punished for taking my line.
You always want to lead on the turn 2 Clothis. So
I mean, turn 2 Clothis would be fantastic here. It really is. It's good at stopping Lurrus things. It gains you life. But this isn't bad either, right? He gets to possibly kill a threat. And if I'm Dylan, if I'm sitting in Dylan's seat, I'm like, sweet. He doesn't have anything to do right now. So let's put out all the things.
So this is the awkward.
Yeah, he just has to be patient.
So this is kind of the awkward spot where like Stomp doesn't kill the Swiftspear if Dylan has something. So it's kind of like a cat mouse kind of game where it's like you kind of want to wait for him to cash in on the spell. Which there you go. Dylan got a little greedy and played into the Stomp.
That's excellent. Fluffy's in great shape.
Yeah.
with this Cloythus coming down, and then Glorybringer next turn.
Mm-hmm. This is a lot of pressure, and I've been playing a lot of red green mid range lately, and this deck turns the corner so fast with Obosh because all of a sudden your Glorybringers deal 8 and your Clothis triggers deals 4 now too.
Ugh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan is gonna just try to kill him and just say whatever, nice 3-mana enchantment, but I think he's got another thing coming here.
Well, now Fluffy kind of has an interesting decision. Where does he exert his Glorybringer with? If Dylan draws a 4th land, he can just bring the Swiftspear right back.
I kind of want to just play Obosh, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
That way, Glorybringer can kill Luris. Because if he just Glorybringers and Dylan has a land, he still gets to bring back one of the Swiftspears.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think, depending on how terrible my math is here, he might actually just be able to kill Dylan next turn with if Obosh lives.
Yep, he definitely can, because the Clothis also turns online if all this threats live.
Right. So it's, I mean, Glorybringer alone is swinging for 8, killing a thing. Cloythus has its ping, which is 4. Obosh itself is 6.
Yep. I like this line.
Yeah. Tight play here. It'd be interesting to have seen this from Dylan's perspective of like, ooh, there's the turn 1 door. Because if I'm in Dylan's seat, it's like turn 1 door, like, yes, kill it, woo. But it's kind of, I mean, Fluffy is only at 9, so the game isn't totally out of reach, or it doesn't seem that way.
The thing is, it's also he got not greedy per se, but he did tell me to take the more aggressive line when he was trying to bolt Fluffy's face, and definitely got punished with Fluffy having the stomp on turn 2.
I mean, I think he just has to do that. Like, if I'm in Fluffy's seat, I'm just going to wait until end step, and if my opponent hasn't done anything, then I'll cast it. But, you know, you're just delaying the bolt, you're losing a point of damage, and you know, there's only so many stomps in the deck, right? And like that line doesn't beat bolt either. Ooh.
So Eidolon is kind of an interesting draw.
I don't think that matters. I think like you just slam your Glorybringer, get in there with the team. In fact, I don't even think you kill the Eidolon. You make, like, if he wants to block with Eidolon, that's cool. But otherwise, you're just gonna lose your team.
No, I think this is just. I think he's just dead because you exert 1 and then you Glorybringers deals 8, and then with everyone's unblocked just deals. So there you go.
He could have a path, I guess.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying, where the Obosh decks just crack back so fast. That was Fluffy's like first combat step that he actually attacked with the creature.
And he just killed him.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, you mentioned you've been playing with this Emrakul package. It kind of reminds me of these much older decks in Modern. You play your tokens and then you get your Emrakul into play. But Luca, here it seems really rather slow to me. Like if I'm Fluffy, I'm actually pretty interested in taking that package out in this kind of matchup. What do you think of that?
I would agree. I think you're going to win the game by just controlling the board and just cracking black, like how Fluffy did game 1. Like that game 1, how that worked out was kind of your game plan against Burn. You just want to stabilize and just kill in one swing. And I think I'd rather just board that package out and just have more life gain, like that Fluffy pull to the side there, the Pulse Marasas, the Angers to deal with the Urlurs and deal with all the creatures so they can't be recurred back. Trinity Spear is actually one of the big cards of the matchup as well, where you just slow Burn down to a crawl. And Relic Progenitus, I like a couple, 1 or 2 maybe, just to stymie them off of graveyard threats, just in case you don't draw any removal for the lures.
Yeah. Interesting. So he's boarding out. I mean, it makes sense. Magus is not stellar against a prowess strategy, but I don't know. I mean, I guess Luca has a plus that everyone always forgets about.
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of the idea there of like, if you get to that point, you're probably just going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think Magus is a card that you ideally could shut them off Lurrus and Boros Charm, Lightning Helix, etc., Path to Exile, but it
Mm.
just dies to everything. So I think I like personally, I would board out all the Maguses, and if he has any Blood Moons, I'd keep in the Blood Moons.
Mm.
Maybe keep two ish. But if Magus is all he has access to, then I don't hate boarding them all out. But I think I agree with you where, in the sense that I think I'd rather have one or two Maguses than like keeping in the Emrakul package because I agree it's a little too slow.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
because if you combo, you get to Emrakul, but then you still give your opponent an tap step, and that's enough for them to just burn you out or tap
yeah,
a whack an
to
Emrakul.
just kill you, because that's often where the game would be. I mean, I think it's pretty close either way. Both of those, the cards he boarded out are also not stellar in the matchup, so it also makes sense. What do you think of his keep here?
I mean, he has a 1 mana accelerant and a life gain spell, removal for Lurrus, removal for early creatures, and a relic to keep them off future Lurruses. So I think this is as good as a hand you can get.
I
You
agree.
can really
I
ask
think
for.
this hand is stellar.
Yeah.
This is a great hand.
Because, I mean, you go turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, turn 2 Relic, plus hold up Stomp, where you can even activate Bolt and stuff too. So
Yeah.
I think it's an above average hand against this matchup.
Oh, for sure.
Unless they have a guide, because then now you're kind of slow out of the gate, because now you're going to take 4. Ooh, but he drew the land.
Mm.
So now it's kind of interesting. Like, do you shock and bolt the Goblin Guide, or do you try to accelerate here?
Yeah, it's a tough spot. I think there's arguments either way. Personally, my inclination is to just play Sprawl.
Yeah. I think I would play Sprawl too. I think
But I think bolting here is totally reasonable. Like, you get to bolt into Stomp, so you're killing 2 threats. Like my line, you get hit, but you're shocking to play the bolt anyway.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly
kind of my
right.
logic. Is like you're getting dealt 2 damage. You're getting shocked regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well take your free. Your free look at the top of my deck, draw a land, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, if we had exactly basic mountain or maybe wooded foothills, then I think I would have. Then I think there's more of an argument to bolt here, but the fact that he has to shock anyway, you're gonna take the 2 damage. So
I mean, it's worth noting that next turn, to do this Stomp bolt line, you actually do have to draw an untapped, like that same kind of land you're talking about, or he has to shock then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think his line's totally reasonable. I just always err on the side of greed.
Apparently, like isn't that how you won our matchup? You got 1 land, and
I mean, honestly, yeah.
it takes a greedy man to win, I guess.
It's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. So Fluffy's kind of position here. He's gonna. So Dylan has 4 cards in hand, which is kind of a lot, and he's gonna be able to stomp the Goblin guy.
Yeah. So he gets to play. I mean, yeah. So you just no Lurrus value is sweet. Yeah. So you just crack that relic right off, right? Or are you forced into playing like Kitchen Finks?
Yeah, it's hard because you could either, if you crack the relic, you give your opponent no chance to get any value. But if you play Kitchen Finks, they bring back Goblin Guide and they attack. Yeah, I think you have to relic here.
I mean, maybe it's about the same, right? Like, so Kitchen Finks. No, well, I don't know. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, but I think it is correct to exile here just to
deny value.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to feel real awkward if Dylan has like Bobble or Seal of Fire or something.
Then again, do you think it was correct to stomp knowing that Lurrus was coming too?
You have to kill the threats.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And sometimes this is how this matchup plays out too, is you have to deal with the Eidolon, you have to deal with the Goblin Guy. Next you know the Lurrus comes down and you just and you're just behind on the value and the race and the board state too.
He's not in a bad. I mean, he's at 7, but
Mhm.
he's going to 9. Yeah, he's like looking
Yeah.
like, oh, is that a skull crack? It's not.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Dylan was digging for a skull crack, which is probably definitely the correct line. I think.
yeah, yeah. Um, unfortunately, Dylan still has 4 in hand.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem with Luris, right? Like in Burn in particular, is it refuels him so much. And Fluffy even denied value, and it's still that way. He's still just like, he's kind of hoping.
I love his facial expressions, just like that perfect animation there. And I think it's funny because with Burn, like when they first printed the Canopy Lands, like it gave Burn that extra boost where they're like, if they flood, it's kind of a death sentence, but they get a redraw and they are just so live. And the combination of the Canopy Lands and Luris, it just gives them so much late game, power that
Oh,
the deck have access like 2 3 years ago.
they grind like nobody's business. Like, have you seen these prowess decks? They've got Light Up the Stage, Luris, Canopy Lands, and Avada the Carol Keep. Like it, that deck can grind as much as a lot of mid range decks, but it just also just kills you. It can kill on turn 3.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's the best deck right now, right? With red black prowess, with how aggressive it can get, how much rough it can get, and it just kills you and it can grind. So it's like that's the perfect combination, right?
Kapula has an interesting question in chat. Why don't people play Simeon Spirit Guide and Obosh decks? I'd be curious to hear your take. My perspective is like Simeon's best at playing a 2-drop on turn 1, and you can't play 2-drops. Is that about where you stand with it?
I think it's a different approach. I think the reason I was drawn to this deck was because I'm a BGX player, right? So I want to play another mid-rangey deck, and this deck steadily is just a 2-for-1. Every spell, Kitchen Fix is a 2-for-1. Bone Crusher Giant. If you're in Tireless Tracker, Glory Ring is a 2-for-1. So just it kind of like subtly this deck can also grind very very well. And Simeon Spirit Guide is kind of the anti mid-range plan because you aren't like it doesn't provide any guard advantage. And I feel like you kind of want Simeon Spirit Guide if you want to accelerate into something, if you want like a turn 1 Blood Moon, but I don't think that's the game plan here. Like I feel like Blood Moon is more of like disruption than a lockout piece in this deck. It's kind of subtle, like similar to like humans, where you like Meddling Mage, where like Meddling Mage isn't gonna lock you out, but it's disruption enough and it keeps you on the back foot to where you just die to an Obosh or a Glorybringer. So that's kind of my reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I think part of it, like, it's not that you are behind on cards. I actually think Simeon with Seasoned Pyromancer is actually a pretty good combination because you play out Pyro, you empty your hand more quickly, and then you redraw more quickly. So I don't think it's an issue of card, like, I'm losing too many cards and this, like, hurts that. It's just more of what you're saying about your game plan. Like well, what are you hoping to do with that extra mana, that Lotus Petal on turn 1?
I mean, like, I've seen some lists run Pillage, and I like all of my original lists don't run Pillage for that exact argument I said earlier, where I want it to be a mid-range deck, and trading 3 mana just cut them off 1 land. It just isn't exactly according to plan. And I can see some people arguing for like, oh, you want to cut them off basic in combination with Blood Moon, but I think it just depends on your game plan. I don't think Simeon Spirit Guide aligns with either of those 2 game plans. So
where do you feel like the advantage bar is right now?
I mean, Kitchen Finks at 90 life, you kind of have to give advantage bar to Fluffy, especially with the Pulsar Remaster in hand too.
Interesting.
So, what do you think?
I think it's actually pretty close in the center. Like Fluffy's resource before that draw, we're kind of constrained, but I think this Cloythus is really really quite good. Unfortunately, you might like. I don't know what he does here. I'm actually really curious to see what happens. You kind of may end up having to discard Pulse, and that's going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like you need to commit things to the board.
I think I kind of want the Clothis because I think he's at a high enough life total to where worst case scenario, if he blocks with Kitchen Fix and takes like 5-6 damage, he goes down to 13.
Yeah.
But like I think he wants Clothis, surprisingly not for the life gain next turn, but maybe the mana, so then he can go Pulsum Rasa into Season Pyromancer next turn and just empty his hand and refuel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Clothis, like, I'm still also Clothis, so it's kind of mapping out for the following turn. Though it could actually be awkward if the burn player just goes like Loris, play Swift Spear, because then there's nothing in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to eat your own land.
Yeah, which I think is where, Skullcrack. That's an interesting timing on that. I wonder if Dylan should have done that main phase when Fluffy actually chooses a target, because right now Dylan is just assuming that Fluffy is going to do it now, but Fluffy hasn't picked a target yet.
Well, so he's trying to play around Fluffy drawing things like Pulse of Marassa, which unfortunately for him, Fluffy just had in hand.
Which is why I think it might have been better just to wait, because he didn't need to, like, nothing prompted Dylan to Skullcrack there. Because, like, Fluffy still hasn't, Clothis hasn't picked a target yet. And theoretically, Fluffy can still target a land here.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually maybe, there's some incentive to do so once you've gotten your second land back with Pulse.
Yeah.
But he does have Stomp now, so I think Fluffy is stabilized beautifully. I think Dylan is now in a pretty tough spot.
Mm-hmm. I think Clothis is one of those cards where it pays off to come down early, and the more turns that go by, the more payoff this Clothis just provides for Fluffy. Like at the end of the game, like it'll gain Fluffy 6-8 life, and that's just a death sentence for burn.
I love this. This is the second match in a row where we're still talking. We're like, I wonder what's going to happen, Ramir, and someone concedes.
Yeah, I know. We're like, what's the next line? What's the next play? And it's like, oh, okay.
It's like the right click concede is the next line.
Yeah.
What was 17 life? A bunch of cards in hand, a Clothis in play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game is effectively over at that point, which is crazy. So Dylan Hand out of the tournament. Fluffy Wolf 2 moves on still with this red-green monster Luca deck, which just looks like so much fun to play. It looks like the type of deck that younger, like teenage me would have been like, I get to play ramp into giant creatures and I have a combo kill. Like, sign me up for everything. It's definitely, what is it, the Timmy? Is it the Timmy in me? It just makes me like, yeah, I want to cast Emrakul or get Emrakul off of a Tiger King. Like, who doesn't want that?
I don't think, let me double check Fluffy's list, but I don't think he even runs the aggro version of it where you can, he doesn't run Planebound Apprentice where you can just aggro into an Emrakul in turn 4. Or turn 3, actually.
Well, but you can you can ramp into a Luca. You can cast Luca turn 2, right? If with a God Hand. So you could have a turn 2 Emrakul.
I don't think you can, because Elk plus Sprawl is 4 mana on turn 2. I don't think you have
Double
5.
Sprawl.
And you don't have a 3-drop to...
Double Sprawl.
I'm sorry?
Elf on 1. On 2, you go, like, tap for your second forest for a Sprawl, get 2. Untap it, use one of those. That's 5, right? Am I crazy?
You make 6.
You can, yeah.
So but you don't have a 3-drop to target with.
No, but you can get lucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what you're telling me is if Gabe played this deck and he did that, he would have hit an Emrakul.
If I played this deck, I would turn to Emrakul every single time because according to you and Andrea, I am the luckiest Magic player to ever survive, ever play. So we're done with the elimination rounds tonight. So with a heavy hand, we get to move on and kind of say nobody else is going to get eliminated from the Modern Streamers League tonight, May 19th, 2020. We're going to be going next to the winners bracket where someone's going to stop their win streak. Now I'm a bit nervous because I don't know if you guys know, I'm kind of like the undefeated Miami Dolphins, I'm going to be cracking open champagne anytime somebody loses their undefeated streak. So I alone can hold the undefeated Modern Streamers League cap or a little pin or even just a trophy that
Is
Kevin
that
gave
why
me.
you want to shorten the season? So, like oh yeah, I'm the undefeated player now. Okay.
No,
As
I
long
do.
as the trophy says rigged underneath,
As
we're
long,
we're
as
all
long
good.
as it says,
You know?
yeah, right, yeah. As long as I get a trophy, Kevin has to sign it.
It's funny how you have two teammates on right now, and we're both just like, no, dude,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
stop.
Isn't Team Ice supposed to support Team Ice? Anyways,
You
I'm the
carry
only
us and we roast you.
I'm the only bearded player tonight though, so this feels weird. I think this is the first time I've been the only bearded member. So this is weird. Two unbearded guys in the middle of a pandemic.
I mean, it'll
It
probably
doesn't
take me
work with
like
the
7 years to grow out that beard, that length. I have nothing.
have you ever tried wearing a mask and having facial hair? It's just like scratch, 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 scratch. It is hell.
Conditioner. You got to condition the beard. I condition this every day, so conditioner it for a minute, and it's nice and soft.
You heard it here first, folks. Beard tips from Saint Do.
Condition your beard nice and soft. Very
Mike's
nice.
just looking for a conditioner sponsorship right now.
That would be fantastic.
Brought to you by Head and Shoulders.
For men's faces. I just use my wife's conditioner. It's perfect.
Got it.
So next up we have Ghost X Empire Marcus against Capolo Andrea. So this one should be good. We don't know exactly what deck list they'll be playing. They have 3 deck lists available, so a little cat and mouse game upon which deck they think the other one's going to play, then they play, which makes the format kind of interesting because each player brings 3 deck lists to the tournament. It's a triple elimination tournament. When you lose a match with a deck, that deck is eliminated. Everything, of course, is modern format. We are sponsored. The Modern Streamers League is sponsored by Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder. So, Ghost X Empire against Capola. What do you guys, Gabriel? Who do you think is going to come out here on top? I mean, these are 2 good players. I'm just going to put you on the spot here.
Well, so actually, I want to mention. I think this is really interesting. It's something that the audience doesn't get to see. I think enough of, especially for the undefeated bracket where they have all 3 deck lists available to them. I found myself when I was in that spot, like, okay, if I play this, what if they play that? How's this going to work out?
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to figure out matchup metrics. And sometimes I think it ends up relatively straightforward, where you kind of both pick like the safe choice and think like I have a reasonable matchup regardless. But it kind of gives you huge insight into these players' mindsets of like, oh yeah, like SpiderSpace thinks he can beat Eldrazi with taxes, and apparently he can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not actually sure.
Rough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go back too much into my history here, but I think, I mean, looking at their deck lists, I kind of feel like Ghost might pick something, err on the side of aggression here.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my leaning. But let's see. I gotta go through these deck lists. I mean, none of his decks are like straight up. He's not playing Luris Burn.
Right.
But
right.
And then what does his opponent have available?
Fuller just reminded me he did submit a deck tech video, so I'm going to air his third deck tech video for you guys here.
My money's on Jun versus Jeskai. That's where I'm.
Kevin, who do you think is going to come out on top? Because you're flickering. I think Francisco got a hold of you here and he's astral renting you right now. Just a little.
Oh God, am I drifting right now?
You're drifting. The Skype feature.
Just yeah.
The feature. We are not sponsored by Skype, and we refuse a Skype sponsorship unless they fix Skype.
Yeah.
So that's the next matchup. Back to the winners bracket elimination matchup. Elimination brackets are done. We are instead jumping to the 3rd round of the winners bracket. We are going to show you the updated brackets, and then we are going to show you a deck tech video Capola made for everybody He requested we air it tonight, which means he's going to be on burn. That's what that means.
Oh, so I said Jund. I guess I meant 4-color. I just saw Shadow and was like, it's Jund.
So I'll be airing that video right after that quick update of the bracket. So we'll see you guys in just a minute.
Hello, Aplo here, and this is my burn deck tech. This list was like stolen from Twitter. I don't remember who posted this deck list, but thanks a lot for the deck list. Apologies, I forgot your name. This is like a classic burn list with 4 of every single card, like 4 bubbles, 4 Goblin Guide, 4 spikes, bolts, and all the most relevant spells. We run the 4 bubbles because we play Lurus in the sideboard, so allows us to, like, if we run out of gas, to get more cards. Also, Lurus allows to buy back our creatures if needed. It's like pretty straightforward, just like burn to the face. One thing that could be changed is to put Seal of Fire in the main board because it's Lurus synergies, but the 2 damage is not too much, so that's why I have only 1 in the sideboard. Probably to bring in only against creature matchups or against opposing Lurus. Is that the right plural? Who knows? So as a sideboard, we have Core 5 Walker. This for the mirror match, because Burn I feel like is gonna be a popular deck in the MSL. We have Skullcrack for like life gain, like Uro and Lurus are around everywhere, so we need to prevent some life gain. Smash the Smithereens if we expect some artifacts, and it's good against like Chalice decks to kill Chalices or like Stoneforge Mystic. And then the last card in the sideboard is Searing Blaze. Is a good card to have against creature mirrors.
All right. So we get to see who chose what.
Mm-hmm.
See if my predictions, which were doomed to be wrong because Capolo didn't actually have Jund. You know, there's only 7 blue cards in there. It counts.
I mean, I don't know about you, but as a Team Ice player, I kind of have a non-biased rooting interest in Ghost Empire since he's rocking the Team Ice emblem right underneath his camera.
He did beat me, so I don't know. Okay, so it looks like he is on Jeskai. And we had both players reveal Lurus.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we did Capola's deck, so we already know that's burn. So I'm half and half here. I'm going for the 50-50. As long as you get that 50% win rate, all is well in the world.
You're talking like a true VGX player. I like it. So how do you like this mulligan to 5 to Ghost X Empire here?
I mean, the hand isn't stellar, but he has some things to do. I like this main phase Lightning Helix.
Mm-hmm. Do you like it with a mana leak in hand though?
Yeah, it's a little more awkward because of that.
Yeah.
But well, every time I play against Burn or Prowess and they triple threat me, I'm like, yeah, that's the game. Like, doesn't really matter what I'm on.
I mean, Ghost X Empire does have Archmage's Charm, which has that subtle mode of gain control of target creature. So he could just steal it.
I think he has to. I think that's what we'll see here.
I guess not. He decides otherwise. I guess he wants to hold up Mana Leak. Or, Mana Leak for like an Eidolon, maybe?
Ooh, double Rift Bolt coming in.
Ooh, this is rough. So now you're kind of incentivized to Archmage Charm now, right?
It looks like he's just opting.
Huh.
I guess finding some removal.
Oh, and he just got instantly punished. He could have passed the Swift Sphere, but I guess he drew another pass, so.
No, he's rewarded.
Yeah. He's gonna go down to 8. It's going to be tricky.
Yeah,
with cards incoming.
Path is so weird in this matchup. Your opponent gets to use the mana, right? Like they crack their canopies, they deploy Luris and redeploy threats from the yard, but Path doesn't put those threats in the yard. So I'm really kind of on the fence of like obviously you need removal against Burn, but I don't know where I am with specifically Path against Burn right now.
Yeah, I like against like red-white, I can see Path being worse just because with the red-black versions they have KoDiamonds, so they can bring it back. So like pathing at Luris is not as advantageous as, bolting it. But you do kind of want to path the other threats, but then you just ramp them in the Luris, like you said. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird catch-22 situation with Path.
Oh, he's taking a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
He might. Honestly, he may still.
No. Gosh.
Okay.
You can't even mana leak anything because you have to path both.
I was gonna say he may still stabilize, but yeah, this isn't great.
I mean, does he steal at this point?
He's still just double pathing. I kind of like stealing there, actually. Just pre-combat, just take one, and it frees up your mana a little bit. I mean, you're gonna need these counter spells, but the double ramp here is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at 2, so any burn spell ends the game, and this mana leak doesn't look very high.
Yeah, the classic Path to Exile mana leak combo.
Ooh, well.
Okay. Well, now do you wait? I mean, I guess where do you?
This is right.
Interesting.
I mean, like any one of those cards could just be game, as is the case here.
Yeah, and Ghost Expert is thinking about Helix. No, he's gonna. He can't even mana leak this. Yeah, so
I mean, I think he's just dead.
I have faith. Nope, never mind. I mean, he's also well into 5 here too, so I mean, it's hard to stabilize.
He fought. I love his little shrug there, like that's all you can do.
Yeah, I think out of just going back to last season, I think Ghost Empire is one of the better players to watch his screen because he's just so animated with his reactions.
Yeah. Interesting. Kind of intrigued by how he's boarding. What do you think of these cards he's bringing in? Like things like Dovin's Veto. And are you interested in anything else on the board? Like a lot of his artifacts here, actually, I find a little bit attractive, like Crypt or EE.
Yeah, I like the E just to kill all the 1-drops, and I can see cutting Cryptic Command just because it's just so clunky.
So I think Cryptic Command is definitely too slow. I think EE is better than Verdict a lot of the time here, though.
I think the only part might be it doesn't get Luris.
Yes, Luris, yeah. So they redeploy Luris, Threat, you Verdict.
Mm-hmm. I'm just covering the whole screen for a second.
So the Luris mirror once again.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Modern has come to be, in case you're wondering, is many Luris mirrors with the occasional Yorion or Obosh thrown in. This is pretty interesting timing when we submitted these deck lists, but I'd say we're not too far off from where the meta's gone.
Yeah, I think it's just you need a companion to kind of compete, and if you don't have a companion, you need something utterly broken. That you're
like Astral Ren.
Yeah.
Okay, so Triome. Interesting.
Oh, so just a Rift Bolt is what I saw. I saw that correctly.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Ghost just played Steam events there, not another Triome. Maybe that signals that he wants to possibly cycle the Triome at some point, but
maybe. My
inclination is like this is not a matchup where you have time to do things like that.
If you have time to cycle, I think either the game you're either dead or you're probably winning anyway.
Right. So like it was a tapped land anyway, but let's see how he chooses to navigate it from here.
So this bolt's interesting because he already has 2 removal spells, and Andrea hasn't played any creatures. So I do like that bottom of the bolt.
Yeah, the bottom makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So are you playing the Triome or are you playing a land here?
I think I kind of want to play the Triome. I guess he's thinking he can just cycle it too. I think I like playing the Triome. Yeah. Well, I guess he wants to counter something with Archmage's Charm too.
He's really on this, like, I'm going to cycle this game plan, I guess. I do think of all the spells that Capullo may cast, Charm is the most just pure damage by itself.
Yeah. And Capullo just sandbagging the creatures and just go, hey, I still have those. That's crazy.
Like, nice bottom on Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost still in a good spot, though.
Yeah.
He's going to 12, but he's got still more removal.
Mm-hmm.
Luris can't really do too much here.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost can path, and even if Andrew has another land, he can't bring the Eidolon back, but he can bring the Bauble.
This is so aggressive. I don't know that. I don't know. Again, I'm the greed meister over here. I don't think I path yet.
You don't think so? I think.
Well, I mean, you don't want to just like counter Luris.
I mean, if he plays Luris, I think that's close. Because I mean, he could just get a card out of it, and you can just kill the Luris with Snap Path or Snap.
I guess a random redraw versus 2 life.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty close in the matchup, right? Like if he draws a land, then it's better to kill. If he draws any spell, it's likely more than 2 damage. But of course, Capullo didn't go for it. Just kind of being patient.
Yeah.
There's another 1-drop.
I've noticed that when you play these Luris decks, all the Luris decks, BGX, Burn, Prowess, Red, Black Prowess, Grixis, Luris, like, I've noticed that being patient with the Luris rewards you heavily in these kind of matchups. Just because you want to be able to exhaust your opponent out of resources, and then you just snowball and overwhelm them with the Luris. And I think that's how you really should play that card, because I feel like if you play Luris early, I feel like it's a sign of weakness, if anything.
I think that's generally true. I think it depends on the deck. So most of the decks we're seeing are using Luris to refuel. So I'm gonna plug for myself here. I've got a breach deck with Luris, and it's a different case there because it actually just lets you combo. But generally speaking, I agree.
I mean, as a combo piece, I think obviously you play to go off, but in like a value-oriented aspect, I think you definitely should kind of try to wait and hold back.
So he's at 12. Luris has not come down. He's still got Snap and Deprive rolled up in hand.
Yeah, and drawing the Lightning Helix is huge because rebuying it with Snapcaster Mage is pretty clutch.
Is that what you think you would do here?
Yeah, I think so, just to gain that life.
Interesting.
Ooh. So when is Ghost just holding the Deprive for Luris?
I guess so. I actually tempted there to just flash in Snap to block the Swift Spear targeting Bolt. Or no, that's Fork
Bolt. Yeah, so the sorcery speed text on there is really hurting.
Right. I mean, he could path. See, if Luris survives, if his Luris survives here, it is huge because Luris just will gain him every bit of life back. I think if he connects with it once, the game is probably just over.
I mean, that tech, like, Lurus just randomly having lifelink is just so huge,
It
especially with Burn
reminds
being so
me
prevalent.
of Trample on Hogak. I'm like, oh, but
Yeah.
why not?
Let's just throw more Cartex on there. It's like, oh, you know what could happen?
Interesting. So this gets the Deprive.
Which makes sense. Oh, now he's thinking about it. Backtrack.
I think he's considering the snap line, but you have to fetch shock, and then you take 2 more.
Or you can just bring back Lightning Helix and then cast the Deprive.
Oh,
Bring back
no.
Mystic
So
Sanctuary.
he fetched Sanctuary first, so that he gets the extra value off of the Deprive. This is really nice off Ghost.
Yeah.
I mean that's some real discipline. I really like that.
Because then you just cast Lightning Helix, bring back, maybe if you want to bring it back with Sanctuary, you can do it again. Oh. This is why
You even
go
can
ahead.
redraw the card right away after deploying it because of the Lurrus Bauble. So this is really lovely. He just gets to kill Swift Spear. He gets back whatever he wants to get back. He still has the snap. He's gonna, I assume, he just like rebuys either Helix or Deprive, and the matchup just ends.
Yeah, because Ghost can deal, because there's one card in hand for AJ, and if it's a blank, then Ghost just gains 6 life this turn from Helix and Lurrus.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, I guess if it was Skull Crack, that's really the only way that anything happens here. And even so, he'd still have to, I still don't think he could win because of the Sanctuary. Okay. Yeah.
Well, does Andre have a Boros Charm in his deck? He must be, right? Because that's still alive there.
Well, right, but so Capolo is just going to go Mystic Sanctuary, or sorry, Ghost is going to go Mystic Sanctuary, buy back either Helix or Deprive.
Yeah.
Probably.
But he can't cast the Helix this turn, so it has to be Deprive, which locks him out again. You're right.
He gets it back with the
with
the bubble.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Oh, I wish I can see what Bobble showed, like what he peaked at.
I think it said the words there for a second, and then they were just gone. I missed it too.
I mean, Ghost looks pretty confident right now.
Land. So it has to be Lurrus, and if it's Lurrus, it doesn't. It gets countered. The game ends. Yep.
Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary being an island and being able to just bounce with Deprive and casting it and just playing it again is just absurd value here.
Deprive is fantastic. I love Deprive just as a one-of in these Mystic Sanctuary decks. It often is just 2 mana Cryptic because you half the time you're just going Cryptic counter bounce anyway.
That was a really good game.
Yeah, that was really. I really like how he navigated that.
And I think that's the this might be a hot take, but like people are bashing companions, and probably rightfully so. I mean, power level is probably too strong for the good of the game, but like it's just so interactive, and there's so many lines that Ghost could have taken, and Andrea, like both of them had all these lines that probably could have gone down, and the game could have played out very differently. And there are a lot of lines that we even discussed during the game too, and we, and it might have been right, it might have been wrong, who knows? But I think that just leads to great gameplay.
Yeah, I mean the old Oko defense, right?
Yeah, Oko is
I mean, seriously, people said the same thing with Oko. Oh man, these Oko mirrors are super interactive and they're very interesting. And I mean, frankly, there's a lot of gameplay to it. I'm not sure where I stand on the bans or erratas or whatever may happen, but I'm actually enjoying the meta. Even if your opponent revealing Lurrus, as you can see in this matchup, doesn't actually you don't actually know what's happening. Like Ghost is playing a control deck. Capola's playing Burn. Like that. Those are very different things.
And you have the Lurrus Brew. That's a combo deck, and like red black Luris is arguably a mid-range deck. I don't consider that an aggro deck. So,
well, I mean, it has discard, but it can kill on turn 3.
I guess.
Uh,
I guess that's your definitions there, but I feel like it's kind of more on the side of mid-range more than aggro, I would say.
sure.
But regardless, the point is like just because you're real Luris doesn't necessarily reveal too much information.
Yeah, no, I agree. So even though you're seeing the Luris a lot, there's a lot of things going on. I just tried. I don't know if you're familiar with actually Aspiring Spikes in the league, and he has a Miracles deck. He's playing Kahira. I just tried a Luris version of that. Like you can try it in so many different decks. So there's a lot of options, even though there's definitely still some repetitive gameplay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pros and cons to the situation, and I see arguments for both. But I feel like the pros of the situation of the meta and companions and Luris in general isn't. I don't think it's topped enough. Where the gameplay is good. It's not like I feel like compared to the Oka argument, where like I feel like maybe it is less skill intensive, but I don't know. I feel like with Luris, you get a lot more interaction, not just this one card just snowballing out of it. Because I feel like the way you build Luris, the decks themselves have a lot of interplay, not just the single cards themselves.
I mean, Luris does snowball, but I want to talk about what's going on here. Ghost deep in the tank. He's trying to decide. So I think the question is, do you get a path, or do you path now or not?
Yeah.
And I actually don't. I don't know. It looks like is he pulling out a notebook?
Yeah, let me consult my textbook here real quick.
It might have been his phone to look at his list.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be really fun if he was like doing some quick math. You're like, what are the odds of?
I think he may be, honestly. Like, Ghost is that good of a player. I think he very well may be doing that right now.
I mean, if he is shocking, he's going to take 2 damage anyway from the Goblin Guide. So it's like, but do you want to ramp your opponent to a 4th land here? And if that's the case, then they can just bring back the other Eidolon. It's kind of close.
So part of the problem is also that if he doesn't path now, like snap bolting is way worse with this in play.
Mm-hmm. And then he also kind of wants a land too, right? Like,
yeah,
like the free value off of it is not something to be mistaken either.
So we went for the tap land. I honestly have no idea if that was correct or not. My money, or not my money. I bet that he doesn't actually know either. I think that was kind of like a hedge of like, all right, like either way, this is pretty rough. Maybe I don't know. I would love to hear Ghost's take on that spot, because that's super difficult.
I think I would have passed that in turn because you're taking 2 damage anyway, and you already have 2 lands lined up in hand. And this way you can just like snap. I guess you can't really snap both the Eidolon either. You're taking the same amount of damage. This is just a rough spot regardless.
He was thinking about going snap, target both. And that line would be great if Capullo doesn't have a removal spell, and terrible if he does.
Mm-hmm. So knowing you would take this line.
I mean, it's 3 cards in hand. One of them is one of them has to be a bolt that can target your thing. I actually really like what he did. He kind of took the middle road, and it actually just looks correct.
Wow, and he just gets rewarded.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, but now Luris comes back with Goblin Guide again, and it's kind of back to square one.
I mean, yeah, his spot is hard regardless, but I really like what he did there. That was really nice.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So now I think Ghost kind of needs like a Lightning Helix to kind of gain life back.
I think he's just snap bolting right away.
Yeah.
And then if he wants to, he can put a removal spell back on top.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he opts to play Field of Ruin instead.
Yeah, and he takes no damage from that, so he's not dead to 3 bolts, which kind of makes sense.
Right.
And they can just hold up force for anything. It's too scary.
I think it's still pretty close.
Hmm.
Usually that's the case with burn. You know,
Yeah,
win or lose, it's by the skin of your teeth.
exactly.
I don't know, man. You know, that Snapcaster got to block. Maybe my line would have paid off there.
I mean, Snapcaster Mage trading with the Goblin Guide with the burn player with 3 cards in hand is a big sign of weakness for the burn player for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Did he?
So
Is that a Rift Bolt suspended that I saw?
I don't see a card in exile, so I don't think so.
What did he do with that mana last turn?
He cracked a canopy. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to see the screen.
Yeah. Luris coming down is nice.
Yeah, with mana leak and force backup, it's pretty. It seems safe to deploy it.
Yeah.
It's
He
just
is.
gonna. I
I love Ghost style here. I don't know. If I had to take the loss, this is the man to lose to.
Yeah, real talk. Ooh, but he does have. Does Ghost have a basic plays?
I think
He
that's
does.
what he was checking.
Yeah, it's shocking to play Luris is dangerous for sure.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I mean, he's playing a Field of Ruin, so I imagine, yeah, he's playing a Plains.
Yeah. I mean, it's between like Luris hold up mana lake or Field of Ruin don't protect your Luris. I guess you have a force, so I
Well,
guess he
he
was
can
debating.
still Mana Leak as well.
Yeah.
Um, huh.
Hmm.
I actually kind of, if I'm him, I kind of want to just play the Snapcaster, no value with the Luris, because if that's Rift Bolt coming off, that's 2 Rift Bolts coming off.
Oh yeah, 2 Rift
Um,
Bolts. Ooh.
with 2,
So
it's perhaps different. With 1, I would think 1 is targeting Luris. With 2, his line is
is just ask the top of the deck to peel a bolt, huh? As is always the case with these burn matchups, you right when
right,
you're about to stabilize, it's just one draw step.
right. Ooh.
Oh, so lightning bolt is live.
It's like,
Is he thinking
can
of
I draw a
himself?
bolt off the top?
Oh no. Oh, skull crack. So he has a force.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
it's gonna matter exactly what this. Actually, oh wow, this is awesome. So even if Capolo draws a burn spell, um, Ghost will untap and be able to snap Force because of Luris.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
awesome.
he doesn't get to draw.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
So
It doesn't matter. The snap is in his graveyard. He casts the Luris. Cast snap with Luris, right?
yeah, that's really close.
It's a
Wow.
really neat thing.
Yeah. This game is insane.
Yeah, it's your turn when the bobble's on the stack.
The thing about it is like this game isn't over either. Like, does Ghost just attack with his lures and just try to gain the 3 life now?
I think you just have to attack with Luris and not get value if Capolo blocks.
Mm-hmm. This game is crazy. Like, you think MJ's gonna just dodge one draw step for Ghost to win, but that's not true. Like, Ghost still kind of isn't out of the woods yet. Especially because he just has 3 lands in hand.
He can't just go cast snap because if Capolo has the burn spell, he will react.
Yeah.
So you're trying to force him to do it with the attack, and if Capolo has the burn spell, then you want him to do it before lifelink is dealt, but I don't. Maybe he won't because he doesn't want you to get this snap value. It's really, really close. I really like
yeah. This is tough.
I think you just have to go attack with Luris and
I agree.
just Like if you don't get the value, you hope you outgrind Capolo.
Yeah, because you have to attack, right? You can't. There's no world where you just give Andre another untap set with nothing in hand. So you attack and force him to not have anything.
Interesting. So Foven has the line, like this is probably the greediest line of like you just snap path and get in there with Luris, forces them to have nothing.
Yeah.
But doing nothing here.
I don't like not attacking with Luris though.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Because now Ghost can't bring snapback or anything, and Luris is and he's kind of incentivized to block with Luris.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He didn't Mystic Sanctuary for any of the spells either to try to trade. I guess he's just bluffing, or maybe he thought he could Luris during his opponent's turns too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think not attacking and not bringing snapback, I think is. Ooh, yeah, this is not looking good. Oh, on the double guide.
Oh,
So
and the snap path line would have worked out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
wow.
That was a wonderful game.
Yeah, that was a really good game because, like, I don't fault Ghost for taking his lines, but that's just how close that game was, right?
Yeah, that was.
I think it was really tough, but I think the line that had to be taken there was the snap path. Hopefully, he doesn't have exactly a lightning bolt because it's not like Burn has a ton. I guess lightning bolt, skullcrack, like you have to hope he doesn't have that. But you can't give him another draw step without gaining life. You have to attack with the Luris, I think. Otherwise,
yeah, I mean,
because Luris swinging counters a spell, right?
So the line, I mean, what I wanted to do there is just attack with Luris. Just Luris, leave back snap. If he trades, then I'm just gonna go Mystic Sanctuary, put Force on top, and then like try to like grind him out. But I mean, the snap path line, like if they don't have the burn spell, that line wins. Whereas mine is kind of like. Yeah.
I mean, if you take the snap path line, that means like Andre needs to draw a creature too. Otherwise, the Luris just attacks for 3 and gains 3 life again next turn. So I think like attacking with Luris and pathing the creature provides the highest upside as well.
It's worth noting, I don't know if Capolo would have kept them in, but if he had drawn, what is that card? The red landfall thing.
Oh, Searing Blaze?
Searing Blaze. Yeah, if you'd drawn Searing Blaze, the snap path line actually turns on Searing Blaze to kill you.
Oh man.
I highly doubt Searing Blaze was kept in against a deck that only runs Snapcaster and Luris' creatures, though. Like I highly doubt that. But that would be sweet. That's like a sweet game 1 type line. Cameras are jumping. Unfortunately, Skype is disagreeing with us. I'll try to fix it during the next break. So that was the beginning of our winners bracket for the night. Round 3 of the winners bracket. Close one with Capolo coming out on top with that burn deck. Next, we have Aspiring Spike and Drake Sasser playing, both undefeated players still. So we have a lot of undefeated players still left in the tournament. It makes me a little bit nervous. I'm hoping happens is nobody goes undefeated this tournament because I can't. I'm only saying that just to make Kevin roll his eyes right now.
I mean, you are hosting this tournament, so I sense a lot of, conspiracy here, a lot of, behind the scenes, behind the scene money laundering here. So
yeah.
It's Kevin's way of saying thank you for hosting the tournament.
Yeah. I'm not in charge of the bracket or anything. I'm just the management guy trying to jam things together. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys, by the way, for flickering a lot right now. That's Skype's fault, not yours. But thank you really for playing in the tournament, for chatting with me a lot about the league, and for hosting and commentating tonight. So thank you guys. We
Happy
still
to
have another
be here.
match left, so you're not off the hook yet. We still have a we still got the most fun looking match of the night with Aspiring Spike and Drake Sasser coming up next. But I just wanted to, while it was out there, thank you guys, because this league is really about the players. Definitely support anybody who's watching who likes the league. Definitely support the players. They're all streamers. They're all Magic content creators. So definitely check them out and help them out. Just by viewing. That's it. Magic players want to be watched. I mean, sure, getting subs and everything else is nice too. It just kind of reaffirms why you're streaming, why you're not just playing Magic without the camera in front of you. So definitely check them out. Well, Gabriel, what's the best way people can find you?
So I have a channel on Twitch. It's just SpiderSpace on Twitch, and then I also have a Twitter, and it's SpiderSpace_MTG. Those are kind of the two best ways. You can also catch me in a couple different Discords, popping in and out. Probably the primary one is taxes, but as my community's been calling me out lately because I haven't been jamming enough Thalias.
What about Kevin? How can people find you?
So my Twitch is twitch.tv/KoDiamonds. And then my Twitter is the best way to reach out to me because that's when I post my last minute, hey, I'm going to stream in an hour. And that's twitter.com/KoDiamonds22.
All their contact information is routinely posted, or at least their Twitter handles are routinely posted on the Modern Streamers League Twitter, which is Modern Streamers. So definitely give everyone a follow. Our next match is, like I said, Aspiring Spike against Drake Sasser. I will try to fix this flickering camera thing over this quick little break. The new break will have the updated winners, losers, elimination bracket, and deck list, so definitely check that out, and we'll be back in just a minute.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We don't get to play the guessing game and see what players choose. It looks like Spike is on Soul Herder, and Drake is on one of his Luris decks, so that knocks out Amulet. I believe his other deck was Humans, if I'm not mistaken, so
I think
that means Jund.
Yeah.
What do you think of this matchup?
It'll be interesting. I think it's a bad matchup for Jund just because I feel like when you're playing this mid-range deck, Yorion just outvalues you just off the top. On top of you have to deal with a 4/5 that doesn't die to Bolt or Fatal Push.
Right.
So I feel like Aspiring Spike is great here, but that being said, like both players are so good. Like Drake is a fantastic player, and Aspiring Spike has some of the best brews, and is a fantastic player himself. So it'll be interesting to see if Drake can find a way to navigate through this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Ren and 6 will be great against all these X1s like we talked about before.
Yeah.
But I really like Spike's list. This is such a cool deck.
It just like gets all the value. And this is an interesting take here where Drake decides to take Coiling Oracle instead of the Ice Fang Quaddle. So he's opting to take the immediate value out and keep leaving the potential Death Touch later.
It's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Like, both cards are a 1/1 that redraws. So it's just a matter of, like, being able to ramp versus having Death Touch. Spike doesn't have anything in hand he didn't to ramp into, but there is always Yorion, so maybe that's kind of the thought process there.
Yeah. The thing is like, once the Ice Fang Quaddle has 3 snow permanents, and like your Tarmogoyf is just essentially just a dead card.
Well, you can always recur those Seal of Fires with Luris, right?
It's true. It's fair. I mean, maybe that's a tell. Maybe that might be what's in Drake's hand, and that might be a good reason as to why he took the Coiling Oracle instead of an Ice Fang Quaddle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's getting... Either way, he was getting either one back there.
Yeah. All ends mean you're the same. So now Drake has like the...
but he reveals Scavenging Ooze, which I actually think is reasonable in the matchup, so that Spike can't just like flicker Ewit forever and ever.
And it's good because, I mean, Dark Confidant is exactly the 2-drop that he wants in this matchup just because he needs to keep up with cards.
I wonder why he didn't play Coiling Oracle there.
Yeah, did he? Because he can't cord for anything either.
Maybe he thought it was the other way around. I don't know. That's interesting.
But Drake's also didn't do anything. That's kind of an interesting play as well.
That is nice. I just want to start blowing up lands. That's what I always want to do.
Are you a secret like Ponza player?
I mean, taxes, you just like Arbiter, Ghost Quarter, Field of Ruin, you blow up lands.
I mean, how does it feel knowing that Aspiring Spike has to pay 5 mana to Stolen Rain an opponent when you can just sacrifice a land for free?
I mean, he gets to do it on a 2/2 with Death Touch that can be flickered. So, like,
that's fair.
I mean, it's not bad.
That's fair.
So he has a much larger board than Drake, but Drake still has 6 in hand. Unfortunately, this does kind of get punished. This Dark Confidant is kind of getting punished just because, blowing up lands means you can't deploy the spells. Confidant is drawing you as quickly, and hopefully, I mean, I think Spike is going to try to pressure him in some way.
The thing about it is, the way Jund's mana is, it's just so painful. And in combination with Bob, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this Ice Fang Quaddle just randomly just got there.
I think it's going to get K-commanded right now. Oh, interesting.
Discard 2 damage to Slime. Oof. This is...
He responds by getting another 1-drop in play, which, that's better than just losing your card. It makes sense.
And makes this Ice Fang Quaddle plan a real deal here. Like,
Yeah, double exalted is not nothing.
Luckily, with these new lower strun builds, like the curve is so low, like drawing baubles, drawing lands, like the
Yeah,
damage you can take off Bob is pretty low. But he's shopping again.
yeah. I mean, his life total is certainly going down. We may see scavenging ooze here to try to gain back some of that life.
The thing about it also is scavenging, like these new gen lists don't have that many green sources, so he might be stuck just gaining 1 life a turn.
I actually kind of think he wants to lose the Bob. So like if Spike attacks, he's just going to try to trade with the best thing. But Spike being very patient and just waiting, attacking with the Ice Fang, I think this is great. It's a hold up Ephemerate. I think we may even see him go for a Yorion here, which would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yorion hold up Ephemerate is just absurd. Because even if like Drake had to resort to fatal pushing or bolting the Ice Fang quality, just a Spike, just I'll just Ephemerate it. Just lose no value.
I mean, he can Ephemerate the Yorion.
Yeah.
But this is also just
and now he has the Eternal Witness Ephemerate combo.
Yeah, that's really yeah. Yeah.
Like I guess that like this Jund just can't beat this type of value game here, where like Jund tries to 1-for-1 them, but this type of deck can just outgrind that easily.
So, I mean, Drake saw the writing on the wall there, but maybe Drake being on the play, maybe if he can like get a quick Goyf out or like kill that mana dork on the play with Ren and 6 and start pressuring before Spike kind of gets to critical mass like that, maybe the game looks different. Very interesting how Spike sideboards here. He takes out all his land destruction, thinking, I guess, Ren and 6 is just too powerful.
Yeah, and the game's just going to go along, and Drake's going to be able to draw all of his lands and be able to cast his spells anyway. I mean, this is like obviously not game 1, but more likely than not, then the game's going to go along, and he's not going to get screwed out of a land drop.
I like this hand from Spike.
Turn 1 Lave, turn 2 Oracle, turn 3 Huntmaster seems like a decent start.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I guess you just take the Astrolabe because it's the first thing, but none of these cards are especially, like, I guess Huntmaster is the most threatening long-term.
Yeah. I could also see an argument for, like, the Ephemerate, because Ephemerate's the one that can just win the long game also.
It's true.
I could see arguments for both, either Huntmaster and Ephemerate.
Interesting. So he goes for Hierarch, it looks like.
I think I like Hierarch because he can just play Oil Oracle and Astrolabe the following turn.
Right. I mean, I think something like Ren and 6 or the Dork being killed in some way is good. If it's not Ren and 6, I actually think it puts Spike in a good spot because it means his opponent spent the turn not deploying a threat, as is the case here.
A thing that we haven't mentioned is Luris bringing back Steelfire is actually a good way to keep up the card advantage and declining Spike the card advantage engines he has and the 2-for-1s, because like he's losing a 1/1 body and drawing a card, but that 1 body just goes away because of the Steelfire. Right.
That's a good way to answer all these flicker tricks. But there is the king of value, Swag Daddy himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever tried to outvalue that card, but it's not easy.
It's when it triggers off just leaving the battlefield, that's just absurd.
Wow. So Drake has about 1,000 means of disruption this game. So neither player really doing anything yet, which I think is just kind of fine. I think they're both sort of okay with it at the moment. I do think that the true late game favors Spike.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's why Spike, he's kind of keeping up, but like you said, Thractus, you slam it on turn 5 eventually, or turn 4 even here, and Jund really has a difficult time beating that card too.
Right. So I think if Drake can deploy and it survives. If he can just get out Luris here, I think the game starts to look really good for him.
I agree. But it's hard to say because the Seal of Fires don't exactly deal with the Thragtusk. He kind of needs something else to. Ooh, and then now he's decaying the Noble Hierarch. That's a really aggressive removal spell, which I kind of like because you want to keep him off Thragtusk, which makes sense.
You like that more than just holding both? I mean, just using Seal of Fire there? I mean, I guess we don't know his hand.
Well, I think he wants to just use his mana, right? Because Seal of Fire is essentially free.
Right. Right. And he needs to do it before Spike untaps.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Ooh. So land number 3 here is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he gets no value off this Luris right now, I think you just slam it and you say, all right, I'm going to just start Seal of Firing you and killing every creature for the rest of the game until you play some huge thing like Thragtusk I can't do it to. And by then I'll probably have drawn something that can deal with it.
Well, plus I think he knows all the cards in Spike's hand now too. So
He
even
does.
then, yeah. So he knows the closest clear for this Luris. So land is not a bad draw. I mean, he just wants lands to just play his Thragtusk now.
Wow. I love the discipline here from Spike, not deploying Soul Herder into the oncoming oncoming deal.
You just can't. I mean, what's Drake gonna just redeploy the seal? Like you can't just lose your Soul Herder. I think that's just too bad of value.
Yeah, no, I mean it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Still, the idea of going Thragtusk into Yorion is and then you're like, someone needs to fan me.
I mean, just gain 10 life and get a 3/3 and a 4/5 flyer. It's like
and draw a card.
And draw a card.
So, I mean, he needs to hit a land.
Mm-hmm.
Untapped land just is. I don't know if there's a better thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Ooh, that's. Ooh, would you main phase this?
Yeah, he's trying to hit his land. So if he hits the land, I guess he's just gonna play Soul Herder.
Yeah.
But I mean, the problem is that Drake can still just go Seal of Fire, kill it, replay Seal of Fire, kill it.
Yeah.
Man, this Seal of Fire just totally changes the dynamic of this matchup. I don't even think that this matchup would be particularly close without that engine.
I think that's the big draw towards Jund over all the other BJX colors, because recurring Seal of Fire is just how you win these matchups, how you recur removal and just recur direct damage to the face. Seal of Fire is just the engine you want over other, like, I guess, engines you could have that white or blue could offer, or even just straight rock.
I mean, it's looking better than. I mean, like in straight black, you get Deadweight, which is close to Seal of Fire here, but it's, you don't get to just have it sitting in play forever for free. Because like if Spike doesn't make Drake pop it, he's just going to go play a second Seal of Fire from the graveyard.
And like the Seal of Fire also deal with Planeswalkers, it deals with like it deals direct damage. Like all of a sudden, if it spikes at 4, the Seal of Fire is lethal, right? So
I don't actually know, what is Spike at.
I mean, I think he took 2 hits from Luris. He fetched twice, so I think he's at, doing the math, maybe 12. Maybe that's a life total, I would guesstimate. 11 now.
So he's just gonna bounce the Luris, I guess. This is interesting.
I mean, yeah, I guess you have to do it main phase because you don't want Drake to bring back a Seal Fire and then get it bounced and then play Luris and then bring back another Seal Fire after. I think that's just right.
Right. And it's different here with than it was that last game with the Flash Snapcaster in the yard, right?
I mean, if I guess Drake's line to win this game is hope Spike doesn't draw a fifth land and just hope this Seal Fire Engine gets there.
I mean, frankly, even if he just has a bolt for this Thragtusk, it's not great, but he could still stabilize. You just kill the Thragtusk, and then the Yorion doesn't get extra Thragtusk value. I mean, of course, the game goes on at that point, but
yeah. I mean, that 5 life is just so huge too. Like, it just buys Spike so much time. Like, I honestly think Spike needs to hit a land. Like, even if I feel like whenever Spike draws the 5th land, I think the game's okay. Here you go. I think the game is pretty almost over. I think
you see him make that little expression like "ding," to use a Caleb Shearerism.
Finally.
All right, so Swag Daddy coming down. Pop's home. What you got to say about
that mana fast enough? He was like,
all right. So maybe the game certainly goes on from here. This is how Spike stays in. Drake is at 6 cards, and it's very interesting. He identified that he wanted to draw things that were not Seal of Fire. And so he opted to start going for baubles rather than just rebuying Seal of Fires, which is interesting because double Seal of Fire actually does answer Thragtusk. But I guess, drawing like Bolt plus Tarmogoyf is better.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a Seal of Fire engine in his back pocket, so I think he just wants to actually draw other threats. Because, I mean, his only clock is Luris, and I think this is why I'm saying Spike can just, whenever he draws 5th land, he just wins the game because Drake isn't applying that much pressure considering that he just gains 5 life off his Thragtusk.
Sure. I'm just saying that the double Seal of Fire kills Thragtusk so that you don't get the extra 5 life off of Yorion. But Yorion's also a 4/5 itself. So either way, he's trying to kill Spike's stuff, but I think Spike is still going to stabilize to some degree.
And it's crazy how you say he has 6 cards and he had to expend all that resources just to kill 1 Thragtusk, and Spike's still left with a 3/3.
Yeah, right.
So
it's a 3/3 that I guess with this collective brutality he gained 3 life. There's an EE to answer it.
And Drake's down to 1 card now? That's crazy. So he went down from 6 to 1 card to deal with the 1 singleton for Raktusk.
Right.
That's crazy.
Okay, so here comes Yorion. If I think if Drake has an answer to Yorion here, the game may end. Just because Spike doesn't have anything going on right now. He can still answer these Soul Herders. So like if it's like, I don't know what it'd be. I guess Trophy plus Seal of Fire this turn, and then he's in a good spot. And if he can't, it becomes a lot more difficult.
Yeah. And even then, if this 4/5 sticks, it's not like Drake's in that bad of a spot because it's not like Drake's at a low life totem or that Luris gained him so much life back.
Well, I think he's just trying to end the game. So, because the more time he gives Spike, the better.
I agree.
Like this Soul Herder is going to get to flicker Yorion here, so it's going to get pseudo vigilance.
This is a close game.
Yeah, it's become that Luris is the only reason that that Drake is in the game at all. It's actually a little risky here. If he can answer the Soul Herder before the trigger happens, then he doesn't get to untap the Yorion and get the value, and then he can attack, which is pretty good. But he didn't have it. So he chose to only exile the Astrolabe. He could actually exile the Soul Herder as well to dodge sorcery speed removal. But of course, Seal of Fire is going to do what Seal of Fire does either way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm.
interesting. Opting to push, I guess, so he can still draw with no? Huh. Interesting. I
I
guess
mean, this.
it's just damage.
Well, another land. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting spot where knowing that we have full information from Spikes and like Spikes it's just a 4/5 versus Drake with a Luris and a Seal of Fire engine. This is like Drake actually might be able to pull ahead in this game. This is insane.
Yeah. I think Spike needed to draw alive there and hit, something, preferably something that didn't die to Seal of Fire, or, if it did, like a Coiling Oracle would be fine because you just Oracle redraw. If you found something like an Eternal Witness there, it starts to get nutty because he's just going to go like Ewit, Get Back, Thragtusk, right?
Yeah. Or just having another board presence, just being able to like clock back if anything. This is just, I think, with these Jorian style lists where you try to get the most value, casting a Yorion with only an Astrolabe to trigger is definitely a side of weakness. So
right. I mean, he got 2 draws off of it because of the Soul Herder.
Yeah.
I think Spike is played amazingly.
I agree.
I don't think there's anything he could have done. Like if he loses this game, it's not like there was some branching path that he could have taken.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you have a 5-drop in hand and can't cast it, it's the cards that you're dealt with. And on that credit, like you got to give Drake credit too, where he's navigated this game really well too. Oh, and there's you got the called shot there with the Eternal Witness.
So I wonder what Spike does with it, right? Like he could just get Ephemerate as well.
Yeah,
that's
but
kind
then
of awesome.
Yeah, but then you can't get value off of the Ephemerate because they just seal the Eternal Witness.
Well, so you Ephemerate Yorion.
I guess you can draw a card. I think I'd rather just get Thragtusk, right? Just rather get something that literally just wins the game. Like talks back.
We'll see if it does. But yeah, Thragtusk is pretty good.
No, he's thinking about taking your line here.
No, I mean, I think those are the 2 options.
Yeah. No, he's going for the Thrag Daddy.
Yeah.
I like how we talked about 2 different lines. We're kind of talk about back and forth, and you literally just put the cursor over both cards. You're like, oh, which one's gonna do?
Like these are the 2 things that you should think about doing.
Yeah. So I mean, because how many cards did it take Drake to deal with the first Thragtusk? And he's gonna have to expend that much value resources again to deal with the second one. I think that's why I like the Thragtusk line more than the Ephemerate line.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thragtusk is quite good here, and it buys the most time, I think, by itself, because you don't have to get lucky with it. It just stays in. If Drake uses 2 Seal of Fires to kill it, he still has a 3/3 on defense. I would love to know Spike's life total. I imagine they're at a similar life total right now with Drake at 9.
The thing is we're talking about what line to take with this Thragtusk and with this Eternal Witness. If you're going to Ephemerate, Drake still has to deal with this 4/5 flyer. That can't be forgotten either.
Right, he's just clocking with the 4/5. Ooh.
Yeah, now I really want to know what his life total is.
That's huge, actually.
Yeah.
That deals 6 right now with 2 more rolled up in play.
And blocks a Thragtusk if need be.
I mean, I think it just attacks through a Thragtusk.
Yeah, this game is really, really good. This game is really fun to watch.
that undefeated players bracket, though.
Yeah. Who would have thought that would probably be the best match?
So, yeah, Spike needs to draw live for something to happen here. Oh, wow.
Well, this is. I was gonna say that was gonna be a really aggressive attack.
Look at his cursor, just like, yes, please, I would love to block.
Spike's eyes just got real big real quick. He's like, "Whoa, I'm gonna trade Athactus for your lures? Sure."
Okay. Yeah, that's
Oh,
gotta be game. Yeah.
Oh, so Spike's left must have been 3, right? It has to be. Or sorry, it has to be 7. He must have been at 7.
Somewhere close to that. I mean, with the attack, so he could have been at, let's see, so 4, 7. He could have been at as much as 9 because Luris can rebuy another Seal of Fire.
Yep, exactly. So it's either 9 or below, which makes sense. Which is
that's
crazy.
about where we had it.
Yeah.
Let's I need to like pull out like a paper notepad here.
Yeah. Moto keeping track of life for us. We gotta do
with a notepad.
Yeah.
Nothing quite like it. I'm gonna grab it.
That's actually what Ghost did. When he grabbed the little pad, he's like,
"Oh yeah." Ghost had his notepad. He's like, you know what? Moto just isn't always right.
I don't trust his life total. This hand is absolute gasoline from Spike. Just 2 for 1 city. Ooh, and a Charming Prince too. I like it.
Yeah, this is a great hand for sure. And note, Wall of Blossoms does not just get killed instantly by Seal of Fire.
Mm-hmm. I think Wall of Blossoms is actually pretty good right now, just because it, like, for red, white prowess and Jun, like, it takes a lot for them to just plow through a Wall of Blossoms, and all that while you already got your value off and you drew a card.
Right. Man, Spike has got to hate to see that card. Just the turn one Seal of Fire. Like, he just spent the entire game fighting through the thing, and it's just like, oh, here it is. Did you miss it?
Yeah. I mean, do you like Coiling Oracle or Wall of Blossoms knowing that there's an active Seal of Fire in play?
I think you still just Coiling Oracle on the off chance you ramp.
That's fair.
Like, it's not like Wall of Blossoms is blocking anything here.
Yep, that's true. Oh, and he has the red and 6.
Ugh.
This is a start that Drake needed to win this bad matchup.
I'm not even convinced it's that bad a matchup with Ren and 6 and Luris. Like, that Luris pulled so much weight, and Spike just couldn't remove it. There was just no paths to be seen, no paths to be had.
The thing about it is Drake also has 4 Seal of Fire, so he's all in on that engine, which is crazy.
I mean, apparently it makes sense.
Yeah. So, as Spike has
Interesting.
Spike can't even like Eternal Witness protected with Ephemerate just because of the Seal of Fire on board too. That Seal of Fire just sitting there is just like we talked about how it's just better than Deadweight. It's just being able to activate and kill something at instant speed for no mana is just crazy.
Here comes Luris.
And the value train starts again.
Oh man. You see his cursor just hover over Concede for a second.
I mean, this is the engine that we talked about, and he has the engine again, and it's
better now because he has Ren and 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's so interesting. This matchup, I think pre-Luris was just nigh unwinnable for Jund. But with Luris, it actually looks quite close.
Yep, I think that's why I kind of just assumed it was a bad matchup because I just thought about it pre-Luris, and I didn't. And seeing it in action, just all the value you get from seals and baubles with those Luris, just you keep up easily. Like it's not even a joke.
I don't know that it's easily. It's just that Spike doesn't have a means of answering Luris, and because Drake knows that and can just freely deploy it, like he didn't have to spend his time answering mana dorks or things like that because he just had Ren and 6. So he has to stop Spike's development first, but this kind of hand does it perfectly because you go Seal of Fire, answer your first thing, Ren and 6 answer another thing, and now here's Luris, and I can do whatever I want for the rest of the game and answer whatever you do.
Did you notice if Spike boarded in any of his paths? Because I know I see he has 4. I didn't really pay attention if he boarded any of them in.
I didn't catch if he did or not.
Yeah.
I imagine he has to though, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he didn't game 2, he certainly did game 3.
Yeah.
Like this game looks so different if he paths Luris at any point here, that advantage bar swings right back in his favor.
Yeah. I mean, Drake has 7 cards in hand and 2 probable removal spells in play. This is exactly where the jump player wants to be.
Yeah. So, he probably just burns the Renin 6 activation Seal of Fire right away. You don't give Spike a chance for any kind of like ephemerate value.
Mm-hmm.
That way you also get to attack with Luris, just gain 3 life just for free.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's my guess. Of course, it depends on what his hand is. If he can deploy threats, he wants to do that. He doesn't want to let Spike get to that 5 mana Thragtusk territory, because that's how, barring, other than Path, that Spike stays in the game.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Push the wall, which makes sense, because that's just a free card that...
It's like, hey, I can't kill that one with with Renin 6 or Punishing Fire here.
Yeah, this is a more efficient Punishing Fire, if anything.
Right. People talk about unbanning Punishing Fire in Modern. It's like, do you want to deal with this twice over?
Oh, a K command. Oh, destroy the Astrolabe. Wow.
I actually really like that from Drake. That was a really nice line.
Oh my God.
Kind of get to do that for free, right? Like, rather than have Spike discard one of these cards, he says, no, that Urion that will come down is not going to get value.
I really, really like how Drake has played this match. Just literally, like Spike needs stuff on the board to get value as Yorion, and he is denied everything, literally everything. An Astrolabe, a wall, everything, even the bird.
So he's trying to just bounce Luris, try to fight this Seal of Fire with Ephemerate, but it's not easy. Drake has shown us that he's a patient player. He's not going to just blunder into this, this is very much like a limited kind of trick, right? Like you try to kill my thing, I respond, save my thing, get value. So Drake is just going to be super patient,
and I really like that, because Spike's just holding up an Ephemerate and blowing the seal on it is kind of a mini blowout, if anything.
Yeah, no, it is. If you seal the Venser, he's just going to bounce he's going to bounce Renin 6 for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you deploy anything, it's going to come back and bounce another card.
Mm-hmm. And bouncing the Renin 6 is kind of a good tempo play too.
It's decent. I don't know that Drake wants to spend his mana doing that. Exactly. No, I have Spike on my notepad here. I've got him at 12.
I really appreciate that. I'm sure the viewers do also. So.
Oh, second seal is nice.
Yeah, man. This 4 of Seal of Fire is a real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like his take there? Like, playing 4 Seal of Fire requires you to make room in your deck. Like, you have to cut some other things. Do you think that that's wise? Do you like that?
Yeah, he is on 3 push. Is he on no bolts? Wow, he cut all his bolts for 4 Seal Fire.
Yeah.
4 Seal Fires. That's crazy. And it's paying off in this matchup where you want this recurability and this, hey, I'm not using my mana now. I'm going to play Seal and hold up and have removal later.
Yeah.
Is really, really paying off, at least in this matchup.
It's huge. Yeah. And there's the path. It's a bit late, though, and Luris is conveniently hiding out in hand.
Yeah. So now, like, are you incentivized to path Bob?
Ooh, I like this line.
I like the attack too.
Okay.
Double ephemerate. Oh, he doesn't even have the second white for the second ephemerate, though.
Yeah, but he forces the double pop at least.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the hierarch was just a temporary exalted trigger because of Ren at 6. Yeah, I think this game may just be over. Like, even if he can path the Luris here right away, it's almost too late because he's now got all this pressure in play. Of course, he's just taking the path, which is
that was a
brutal.
That was a timely removal spell just to protect Luris.
I mean, that's ridiculous. The Venser play kind of backfired on him because he drew the path. And I think Drake can probably kill Spike here he's going to try to do it in as few combat steps as possible. So I would guess it's going to be 2 because he gets in here for 5, bringing Spike to, what was that, 7? And then he replays Luris, gets back Seal of Fire. So he's very much presenting lethal between Seal of Fire, Ren and 6 on the board. And I can't really imagine there's much Spike can do about it. Like, he can gain 3 life off of Charming Prince, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, this is really, really difficult because he just has these answers. Like, he could go Charming Prince, Eternal Witness, and he just has Seal of Fire, Ren at 6, and he just cracks back.
Man.
So
Yeah. Seal of Fire.
Yeah.
Drake Sasser 4 Seal of Fire, everyone. That is whew.
That's new gen tech there.
I mean, people are on Seal of Fire, but 4.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Exactly. He's kind of just all in on it.
He's making it look fantastic here, that's for sure. And a lot of the time against those kind of creature matchups, like Burn like Prowess decks are probably the biggest of those, and a Shock kills your thing too. Yeah, and Spike sees the writing on the wall. He says, "I can't get through it."
That was a great match. Like, great play. Like, that was nice to play by both players too.
Yeah. I mean, my heart goes out to Spike there because he just couldn't do anything. It was like, well, literally everything I do will get killed. Even if they're all 2-for-1s, they still just all get killed.
And the subtle thing I really liked was when he destroyed the Astral Wave, that really messed up Spike's ability to double spell because he only had 1 white source there too.
Well, he's also planning all the way ahead to Yorion. He said, like, that was very nice.
It was just really nice for a lot of reasons, both Yorion and White Source, because at the end of the game there, when I thought the game was kind of over, was when Spike had 4 white cards in hand and 1 white hand.
Yeah.
Mana matters.
We're back.
We're back to mana matters, and that was just. I've checked his mana base and the math on it, of course. And Spike's a great brewer, great player, so I'm sure the math checks out for what source he needed. But Drake destroyed that Astral Wave signature shipment. Oh, yes, he did it without worrying about it. Giving the out. Thanks, Spikes.
Yeah, it's hard because it feels bad shattering Astral Wave from like the KoDiamonds player side just because like it looks innocuous. It doesn't look like it does anything, but it does a lot. And especially in that game, it showed just how much it fixes the mana.
Yeah. I mean, Drake just showed us how good shocking everything is. When you can shock literally everything, it is fantastic.
I'm gonna shock you. I'm gonna shock you. I'm gonna shock you.
Hey, that K command, it was shock shatter.
Yeah.
So sorry about the music being a little bit too loud there. I forgot to mute the intro music when we welcomed back to the 3 host section. So sorry, Chad, about the music being a little bad. That is my fault. So I take full responsibility for that. Just like
It's always your fault.
every mistake in the MSL, every time any player makes a mistake, it's my
Every
fault.
punt.
Every
Yeah,
punt,
it's
every
definitely
single
true.
time.
You also get to claim like, oh, did I make a great play? I guess that was Saint Doom.
Yep.
You know.
Drake
Either we-
Sasser K commanding that astrolabe, which won him that game 3. You're welcome.
No. I do blame you for Spider drawing that fetch land game 3 to have his hand go off. I do blame you for that.
I was just destined to do that one. That one's all me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Well, we're gonna chat for another minute or so, but I just want to thank everybody in the audience for hanging out. We had 4 matches tonight. To recap, we had KoDiamonds versus Francisco Palachek, and Francisco in his Astral Ren deck came out on top, showing some more spice. We had Fluffy Wolf 2 against Dylan Hand, and Fluffy Wolf 2 and his Red Green Monsters featuring Luca, the Tiger King, took down the Burn deck from Dylan Hand. That was the elimination bracket, so unfortunately, KoDiamonds and Dylan Hand are not moving on, are eliminated from the tournament. And then in the winners bracket, the undefeated players, we had Ghost X Empire lose to Capolo's Burn deck. Ghost X Empire was on a spicy Jeskai Lurrus deck, a control deck with 4 Snapcaster Mages and Lurrus. And then we had Aspiring Spike and Drake Sasser, with Drake Sasser coming out on top. Gabriel, what was your favorite match of the night?
I think it's got to be the Ghost X Empire versus Capolo matchup. The Jeskai Lurrus versus Burn. That match was just so close, so interesting. There were so many, just a plethora of lines that could be taken at almost all times. It was super interesting.
Yeah, all the matches tonight have been great. Kevin, what was your favorite?
It's definitely the last one. I mean, I just love watching BJX, and especially when you watch BJX in the hands of a really, really good pilot and how they navigate, because you just have all this interaction or removal spells and the timing of it where, like when Gabe and I talked about it, where he wasn't aggressive with the Seal Fire, like Spike played a Venser with the White Man up. He just didn't seal. He just waited, and that's just like masterful piloting on the deck. And it's me personally, as a BJX player, just watching that how to pilot the deck masterfully is exactly what I want to see. And Spike's one of my favorite players too, one of my favorite streamers. So watching him play is always, watching his brews, if anything, is one of my favorite things to watch too.
Watching Drake pilot that Jund deck, like reminisced like with the patience that Reed Duke has when he pilots Jund. It's just all about taking your moment. That's how I feel like a great Black X player plays. It's wait, hold off, and then you wait till your moment when you are, swing with Tarmogoyf now, and in 2 turns they're dead. Like that's I feel that patience where it's building up to get to that point when you can turn that corner right there.
This was a turn where he just deployed lethal. Like, I'm assuming he had those in hand. He was just dealing with the board. Oh, you're at X life where like this is lethal now. Like you have nothing in board and play. Like I'm just gonna flame all these creatures. Deal with it when you don't have any removal in your deck. When I discourage your only path away. Like that's just amazing gameplay right there.
I think probably the thing he did best in that matchup that really kind of blew my mind was when he pivoted to decide I'm no longer recurring Seal of Fire. I'm going to recur Mishra's Bauble, and then back and forth between those two. That is that really requires a lot of thinking and a lot of foresight in the match of like, okay, like Shocker Return is good, but I actually want a random card more than that right now.
Yep.
That's discipline. That's taking the correct line, even if it might not feel like it's the most valuable line. Chat says, so Punishing Fire is banned. Should we revisit that? I don't, like Gabriel said earlier, I don't want 2 Punishing Fires legal in the format at the same time in the same colors. Like you don't want Grove of the Burn Willows and to be auto included. Imagine you could have this 4 Seal of Fire deck that now has Punishing Fire. It's just
8
now
punishing
right.
fire.
The cost of Seal of Fire is that the 3 toughness creatures get a lot stronger, right? That's why when Kevin was like, "Wait, there's no lightning bolts here." That's a real thing, especially when you're
Mhm.
playing like humans players. You see a Mantis Rider get a Seal of Fire, you're like, "Well, I guess I just die." But
Yep.
now if you have Punishing Fire and Seal of Fire, you're like, "Yeah, sure, it's a little bit more expensive, but I can still pick off all of these things." Especially when you start associating Ren and 6 into the mix there, which can ping off 1. Now all of a sudden you can pick off much bigger creatures and still not lose much value at all. It's just you don't want both in the format at the same time for sure. Should Seal of Fire have been unbanned? Well, should
Punishing
Punishing
Fire.
Fire have been unbanned? Maybe, but we definitely don't want both.
Is now the moment? No. Yeah. I mean, so you're seeing Luris build their own Punishing Fire. If you had Punishing Fire legal, you would just have Yorion decks also doing it.
Yeah.
So every matchup would just be recurring shocks all the time.
And that is the difference right now. I feel like when you're being a mid-range player, you're choosing between Yorion and Luris. You have to choose whether you want the Seal of Fire potential engine with Mishra's Bauble, or Spellbomb and Tormod Script, all the awesome things that Luris does, or you're like, I get a bunch of flicker effects. It's really you have to choose between Mishra's Bauble and Astrolabe right now. I feel like is the mid-range players' choices.
Yep. Well, it's Yorion or Luris, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the two. Or you can just join the Primetime Stronghold and Amulet Titan is a heck of a drug.
You don't even need a companion.
You don't need a companion. I've been saying it, I think, every single night, but I think Modern has evolved to a point where you're either a deck that generates value from a companion, you're a deck that generates value on its own, and those decks would be like Primeval Titan, maybe even Dredge, different decks like that.
Tron.
Tron is definitely in that. Decks that don't need companions because they generate value on their own, although Tron is running a companion. And then you have decks that don't care about value. So value from companions, value on their own, decks that don't care about value. That'd be Storm, Neobrand. Decks that just like, oh, cool. You have 7 cards in hand. That's cute. Decks like that.
Storm's also running a companion.
What companion is Storm running?
Jengatha, they just play a.
Oh, yeah. All right. I can't.
I mean,
imagine...
it's the same with Tron too. Just Tron or humans. Humans just randomly has a companion too.
Humans, I feel like could actually maybe every once in a while cast. I feel like Storm could be. Oh, sure, I'm going to turn 2 this Gigantha because they could, or turn 3 it and say, deal with my 5/5. But
I mean, it can happen. Like in those matchups where they play their billion goblins, they empty the ones early, and then they're out of gas and they're like just drawing lands. You're like, hey, here's a 5/5. Let's close the door with that the goblins almost got through.
But even Caleb Schurz, as we saw last week, he was on Thursday night. He's not running Empty the Warrens right now.
That's true. Because of that, a certain 3/2 lifelinker.
3/2 lifelinker.
Darn lifelink,
coming
man.
Empty the Warrens used to close the door on Jund. Like a turn 2 or turn 3, just make like 6 to 8 goblins, game over. But now, it'd be like, hey, do you have Maelstrom Pulse or EE? No, game over. Or a really cute Golgari Charm. But now it's, no, I'll just make a 3/2 lifelink. Not only does it block a goblin each turn, but it's also basically gaining me 4 life by blocking 1 and the lifelink, because lifelink has to be on a companion. It's
like Batter Skull the companion.
I've been, every time I've cast Luris, I've been like, oh yeah, and it has lifelink. Like it just a little extra bit on there right now.
Did Hogak have trample? I mean, that's what it reminds me of.
Why did Hogak have trample? Why? If Hogak was a 4/4 without trample, it would not have been banned.
I mean, everyone wants to be questing beast, right? So everyone has to aspire to be one.
Isn't it crazy that Questing Beast, if Questing Beast was printed in the Khans of Tarkir block, imagine how much modern play it would have seen. Back then Siege Rhino was a heavily played modern card, and Questing Beast makes Siege Rhino kind of look silly. It's like, wait, you cost 3 types of mana? I'm just green.
Mhm.
Just green, bro.
You
It
could
just
play both.
You can play both. Why not both?
I mean, it's just crazy how much powerful Modern has gotten to the point where Questing Beast that has like 1,000 keyword abilities isn't seeing any play.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you
If-
guys
Like
I
you would
mean-
think,
flickering again.
no,
It's, we summoned, you can't invoke Questing Beast's name.
this is what happens when you showcase Franny's deck first. We just start
Yeah.
Astral Drifting.
Astral Drift, and then we ended with Ephemerate. So we definitely
Yeah.
have a lot of flickering going on here.
Mhm. Too much flickering on the side and not enough in Aspiring Spike's match.
Absolutely. Anybody who wants the most current bracket and deck lists will be tweeting that out. At Modern Streamers. At Modern Streamers. We'll be tweeting that out so you guys can see the most current brackets with up-to-date information at the end of tonight. Once again, we had 4 matches tonight. Capon, San Francisco, Fluffy Wolf, Dylan Hand, Ghost Empire, Capolo, and Aspiring Spike and Drake Sasser. All of them I thought were really great. I agree with you guys that last matchup was not only the longest of the night, but also the grindiest in a good way. Like I felt, other than that game too, when Spike couldn't really do too much, I thought it was a really, really good matchup. Just to kind of recap one more time.
I mean, it's a good match to watch when it doesn't feel like it's the longest. Like that match didn't
Yes.
feel like the longest because it was very enjoyable to watch.
I did like how Francisco stole a turn 2 win with his Ren and 6 deck. Turn 2 Ren and 6 concede.
I
Ugh.
don't want to talk about
hurts.
Francisco winning.
Well, we'll see what he does what ends up doing later this week or next week. What's on the docket for tomorrow? Tomorrow I am playing Garrett Martin to open up the night. Yama Killer is playing SpiderSpace, our own Gabriel here. We have Ghost Empire playing, looks like the winner between me and Garrett. And then the last one is still to be determined based on the bracket. But that is the way it's looking to break out right now. So opening up with me playing against Garrett Martin tomorrow at 8 Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry,
Be fun
Kevin,
to
you won't
watch.
be on for that one to just talk poorly about my play.
I'll be in the chat.
Okay, perfect. I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you guys for being awesome commentators all night long. The Modern Streamers League is brought to you by Wizards of the Coast and Card Hoarder. We play every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night until the tournament's over at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is a good time, same time as tonight. Check out our YouTube page. Check out our Twitter. Check out modernstreamersleague.com. Thank you, everybody. Sorry for the loud music. That was my fault. And we will see you tomorrow night. Have a good night.